Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates. Today I want to talk about something I haven't really talked about yet, which is the starfighters. The reason to why I haven't really talked about flying is simply because I'm not the best pilot. I'm pretty decent and can get a lot of kills in the air, but as soon as I face off against a really good pilot, I'm usually dead. And on top of that, I'm pretty good on the ground, so I usually prefer to stay there. But recently I've gotten more into the starfighters in Walker Assault simply because I know how important they are. So I thought I'd simply give you guys my first impression and also some tips and tricks on how to become a better pilot. So, as a PC player who plays with a mouse and keyboard, that is probably the biggest issue so far, since the controls are heavily focused on console-based controllers. The problem you have to counter on the PC is that the crosshair of the starfighters has a quite heavy tug to the center of the screen all the time, meaning that whenever you try to do as sharp turns as possible, you'll see that the crosshair moves to the middle of the screen whenever you lift your mouse off the pad. This is of course most easily prevented by simply getting a controller for your PC, which is something I thought about doing pretty soon. Another suggestion I've heard from other people is that you should increase your DPI of your mouse whenever you get into a starfighter simply by pressing the button on your mouse. But for me this didn't personally help. I just felt like it was even harder to be accurate with the aim, even if I could do the turns a little bit easier. As most of you probably know, if you hold down your right mouse button or the respective controller button, your aim will lock onto the enemy ship, allowing you to lead your torpedo onto them as long as you keep the lock. And you will also be able to fire your lasers at them. One huge tip I can give you guys here that has helped me out a lot is that whenever you're dogfighting someone who's trying to get away from you and who isn't going in a straight direction, don't use the lock-on. The lock-on actually aims straight at the ship, so if they are moving into another direction, you will miss all of your shots, and what you need to do instead is to manually aim in front of the enemy ship, which means that your shots will actually hit them. And then when you actually see them going in a bit more straight direction, or if you want to use your missile, that is when you should use your lock-on system. That was a problem for me. The first time I played I kept the lock-on all the time, which meant that I missed pretty much all my laser shots. And of course, if you see missile incoming, you know that you should use your evasive maneuvers by pressing F1, F2 or F3. I suggest you to make sure that you always have evasive maneuvers off cooldown, since the most annoying thing is if you just use your sharp turn maneuver to turn around and then you get the missile lock-on, which means you're pretty much screwed. I have one more tip to give you guys that can actually win you a lot of fights. If you, like myself, have crashed into the other fighters many times and died, you know that it can get a bit annoying in the end. I mean, sure, you do get a kill for the crash, but you also die. However, if you are playing as the A-Wings or the X-Wings, you actually have a shield that can protect you from this, meaning that if you're going head on with another enemy and you're in an X-Wing or A-Wing, just pop the shield and keep going. Whereas if you're on the other side with a TIE fighter or interceptor, you should either just get out of the way or use a barrel roll to quickly dodge the enemy ship, because if you crash, you're most likely dead if the enemy ship activates their shield. So well, how important is it to dominate the skies? It's actually very important for both teams, because I'm sure you guys have been killed quite a lot of times from the sky, and that is usually what happens when one team dominates the sky. They start to do strafe runs over and over and destroy the people on the ground. And on top of this, the fighters can deal huge amounts of damage to the AT-ATs. So if the rebels dominate the skies with 3 or 4 fighters in the air at the same time, that means that they have a very big chance of winning the game. This is kind of a snowball effect as well, since the spawn of the fighters is a bit wacky and you can easily spawn kill them. So I've noticed that whenever I have a couple of good pilots as teammates, we simply don't let the other team get into the fight at all. As soon as 1 or 2 of their fighters enters the battle, we hunt them down and kill them instantly. This gives you a huge freedom to just strafe run after strafe run and take out a lot of enemies on the ground, and the starfighters are also very effective at taking out AT-STs and even heroes on the ground. So I'd say that the starfighters can be pretty game winning for the rebels. Another thing to note here is that during the last phase with the snowspeeders, you really need some protection, as the snowspeeders really can't do much themselves. They are slow, have very low firepower and get shot down easily. So when the second phase is ending, you need to make sure that you get as many A-Wings as possible into the air and then keep them in the air until the last phase, as without them it will be very hard to pull off the tow cable takedowns with snowspeeders, as you will have 3 or 4 interceptors and TIE fighters after you as soon as you spawn. I personally hope that they do add some X-Wings or A-Wings to the last phase, as the snowspeeders just can't really do anything against the TIE fighters and interceptors. Well, that wraps up this video. As I said, I'm not the best pilot in Battlefront, but these are some tips that has helped me improve my piloting skills, and now I'm definitely more than capable of taking out multiple fighters at once. I might be testing out the controller in the future just to see how much of a difference it actually makes, and in that case I'll of course make a video for you guys. Anyways, thank you for watching, make sure to subscribe for daily Battlefront content, and I will see you guys soon again, and as always, may the force be with you.